The rope burns where it circles her wrists. Kasia is 26 years old and she can feel the coarse hemp cutting into skin that has never known anything rougher than silk. Until 9 days ago, she was Princess Kasia of Pontus, eldest daughter of a king, educated in Greek philosophy and Persian poetry, betrothed to a prince of Armenia. Now, she kneels in the stable stench of a Roman camp. Through the walls, she hears the high, keening terror of her two younger sisters. Leotis, 19, is bound to a post, her body forced into an arch. Nisa, 18, trembles violently in the stall beyond. And in each stall, the Romans have brought massive cavalry stallions. Kasia knows the whispered punishment, a spectacle reserved for royal women of conquered dynasties, designed to annihilate dignity and erase bloodlines. General Crassus enters. The youngest first, he says to an officer. 18 is old enough. Her screams will motivate the others. Nisa, they will start with Nisa. The fear that has paralyzed Kasia since her capture recedes, pushed aside by something older and stronger. She has always been their shield. General Crassus, her voice cuts through the stable noise. I would speak with you. He turns, his expression shifting from dismissal to curiosity. What could you possibly have to say? An offer, take me instead, all of it. Whatever you plan for them, concentrate it on me. I am older, stronger, I will last longer, the spectacle will be greater. Crassus studies her. Your sisters are younger, 3 is more than 1. Why would I accept less? Because I have information, Kasia says, her mind racing. The locations of treasure my father hid, the names of Roman officers he bribed, the supply routes with Parthia. Give my sisters genuine safety, exile in a Roman household as guests, not slaves, and I will give you everything. She watches the calculation in his eyes. Romans are pragmatic. Ambition overrides cruelty. Your sisters will watch, Crassus states. They will watch what you endure for them, and they will know what they have been spared. Kasia forces herself to nod. Then we have a bargain. As soldiers approach her with ropes, a younger officer interrupts. Tribune Marcus Antonius Priscus steps forward, speaking in a low voice to Crassus. The intelligence she mentioned, if her mind breaks before we extract it, we lose that value. We should delay the intensive measures, verify her information, then proceed. Crassus agrees. The immediate horror is postponed. Kasia is moved to officers' quarters. Her sisters are taken to a separate tent, guarded but unbound. She has bought them time. In the days that follow, a fragile routine forms. Each morning, Kasia provides intelligence, weaving truth with careful fiction to maintain her value. The treasury at Amisus is real, and its confirmation by a Roman scouting party builds her credibility. Her claims about Parthian connections are plausible enough to send messengers to Rome. Each afternoon, she is allowed to see Leotis and Nisa. Leotis, practical, understands the grim calculus. Eventually, you will run out of information. What happens then? Then I find other ways to be useful, Kasia replies. Nisa, her face still streaked with tears, speaks softly. I don't want to survive if it means you suffer. I would rather die with you. No, Kasia says, her voice hard. You do not get to make that choice. I have already made it. You will survive. You will remember me as someone who loved you enough to do what was necessary. 3 weeks into this uneasy stalemate, Tribune Priscus brings news. The Senate has taken interest in her Parthian intelligence. She and her sisters are to be transported to Rome for formal interrogation. General Crassus is overruled, but demands a public ceremony of submission before their departure. Kasia agrees. Humiliation is a price she can pay. At dawn, before the assembled army, she kneels on hard ground. She proclaims her submission to Rome, her voice clear and stripped of emotion. She prostrates herself, then crawls to the platform and kisses General Crassus's boots. The soldiers watch in silence. Her sisters watch, their faces pale with horror. It is a wound to her soul, a deliberate degradation. But it is not death. She adds it to the ledger. The journey to Rome takes 6 weeks. Tribune Priscus, now their escort, warns Kasia about the coming triumph. The crowds are not kind. They will throw things, shout things. Teach your sisters to go somewhere else in their minds. They need only endure for 3 hours. The triumph is a torrent of hatred. Chained and dressed in insultingly thin tunics, the sisters are paraded through streets lined with a million roaring faces. Rotten food and dung rain down. A stone strikes Cassia's forehead, drawing blood. The shouts are graphic, violent, relentless. Halfway through, Nisa stumbles and falls, her chains tangling. A soldier steps forward with a whip. Cassia moves instantly, placing herself between them. "She walks or I do not walk," Cassia declares, her eyes locked on the soldier. "And if I do not walk, your general loses his prize captive. Someone will answer for it." The soldier hesitates, then lowers the whip. Cassia helps Nisa up, and the three of them press on, a single unit of shared suffering moving through the sea of contempt. They reach the temple of Jupiter and are led to a dark cell beneath. There, in the silence, Cassia finally allows herself to weep, silently so her sisters will not hear. The years that follow are a different kind of survival. Housed in the residence of Senator Marcus Caecilius Rufus, Cassia provides intelligence on Parthia and the East. Her education makes her invaluable as a translator and advisor. Leotis, with her practical mind, becomes skilled in household management. Nisa's extraordinary musical talent makes her a celebrated performer in elite Roman circles. They are captives, but comfortable ones. Their lives depend on continued usefulness, but they are together. Priscus, his career advancing, visits occasionally. Their relationship is a transaction of mutual recognition. "You have traded one form of destruction for another," he observes. "I am intact physically," Cassia replies, "but I have destroyed other parts of myself. My pride, my identity, I am hollowed out. Yet you survive." For them, 5 years after the triumph, Priscus presents an opportunity. Senator Rufus, now heirless, is considering adopting Leotis. It would grant her Roman citizenship, property, a future. Nisa could remain as part of her household. Cassia's own status is more complicated, but not impossible to change. "Everything I do serves my interests," Priscus says plainly. "Sometimes they align with your well-being." Cassia understands. She spends the next 2 years navigating the complex politics of Roman society. She cultivates alliances with powerful women, discredits rivals who threaten her sisters, and proves the value of keeping the Pontic royals close. The adoption is finalized. Leotis becomes Caecilia Leotis, a Roman citizen. One sister is saved. Nisa chooses a different path. She has no desire to become Roman. Her talent grants her a unique status, a celebrated artist, neither citizen nor slave. She gains a form of independence Cassia had not thought possible, living in her own home purchased with earnings from her performances. The second sister is saved. Only Cassia remains, the indispensable captive, her freedom still a distant concept. Senator Rufus dies 14 years after the triumph. His estate passes to Leotis and her Roman husband. The death creates an opening. Cassia's official role as an intelligence source must be renegotiated with the Senate. Priscus, now a senator himself, becomes her advocate. "She has provided 14 years of invaluable service," he argues before his colleagues. "Her knowledge has saved Roman lives and advanced Roman interests. Continued captive status no longer serves Rome." After lengthy debate, the Senate agrees. Cassia is granted formal freedom by official decree. The ceremony is small, held in a marble chamber. There are no chains, no crowds. Leotis, now a matron with children, weeps openly. Nisa, her hand tight in Cassia's, does not let go. For the first time in 14 years, Cassia feels it. A lightness, the absence of the weight she had carried since the stable. She is free. She remains in Rome as a respected consultant, advising senators and training diplomats. She never marries. The years of captivity have left parts of her closed off, but she has her sisters. Leotis's children fill her home with noise. Nisa performs at her gatherings. She has the quiet satisfaction of a promise kept. In her 63rd year, Cassia falls ill. On her deathbed, her sisters are with her. "You saved us," Leotis says. "Everything we have began with your choice in that stable." "Do you regret it?" Nisa asks, her voice soft. Cassia looks at them, the women they became, the lives they built. "I regret that it was necessary," she says. "I regret the world that forced such a choice. But do I regret choosing to protect you? No. I would make the same choice 1,000 times." She dies that night. Leotis lives to 82, surrounded by generations of her family. Nisa lives to 90, a legend of Roman music. They ensure their descendants remember Cassia, the princess who saved her sisters, long after the official histories have forgotten. Remember Cassia. Remember the princess who knelt in filth and offered her own destruction as a bargain for love. Remember that Roman conquest was not only the clash of legions and the speeches of generals. It was also the quiet terror in a stable, the calculated humiliation before an army, the three sisters holding each other up through streets of hatred, and the slow, relentless work of building a life from the ruins of a kingdom. It was protection, purchased at the highest cost, and a legacy not of throne or crown, but of survival.